So today is another excerpt of my interview with Adam Neely. As usual, in the description, you can find hyperlinks to things we talk about in the video, as well as a link to t-shirts in case you'd like to support the channel and buy a cool t-shirt. Please like and subscribe and comment. I love talking to you. And here's my interview with Adam Neely. I guess, how did you end up adapting to, because you almost partially left music for a minute while YouTube was exploding, it seemed. Like you would play bass out much less. Again, this comes back to tying ego into things. Was that annoying? Were you ever like, damn it, I miss playing bass? Like, I thought I was a bassist. Or were you just like, oh, this is fine?
Yeah, I mean, that's always a struggle with YouTube. And honestly, for this year, I kind of wanted to go back to playing bass more frequently. But then, YouTube kind of had to happen. That's always a struggle, honestly. But it's kind of a struggle. It's a good struggle, and I don't really mind it. But all throughout the process, there has been this kind of like push and pull between being a bass player and seeing myself as the identity of a bass player within a scene and a session bass player, etc. And then this YouTube career persona thing. And what's been really interesting recently is people in New York not even realizing that I'm part of the New York scene and then talking shit about my YouTube channel, which has been very interesting to see, like on Instagram and stuff. I'm like, oh, hey, I know you, and you're playing a gig with another guy that I'm playing a live stream with, and hey, that's fun. That's great. It's a level of disconnect, I guess, that I have from the New York scene that I didn't really expect, and I kind of don't want, because I see myself as a musician first and foremost within a scene. That's the entire reason why I'm in New York. I don't want to leave New York because I see myself as being part of a community here. And it's always a struggle when, there's different kinds of careers happening at the same time. But yeah, and that happened all throughout, like making like the rise of YouTube and all the stuff that I ended up doing. I was playing wedding gigs all the time, which is fun. But then it became an issue when people started recognizing me on wedding gigs, which was fun at first. But the second time I was like, I'm here to play bass. I don't want to be want to be YouTube right now. I'm here to play a wedding gig. And then I've very much stopped doing the wedding thing. But it was always a struggle going back and forth between the two.
What's your driving? A lot of people ended up, I guess, hanging money onto certain achievements in music, and then maybe they'll go into something thinking, oh, I got to co-write because that's the only way I'll make any money. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like money's been a driving factor for you, but I don't know. So,
well, okay, it has been in a lot of ways, because at first I was doing a lot of musical theater stuff because I thought that musical theater was how you make money as a working musician in New York City, and it very much is. I was doing a lot of gigs at 54 Below and Laurie Beachman Theater on upright bass, and I'm not a very good upright bass player, but I could read music. I was a good hang. I was very professional, and I enjoyed the scene because it combined, professionalism with having fun. So when you go into rehearsal, you just do nothing but rehearse, and it's very boom, 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 boom. And then afterwards, you hang out and party. And I really liked that scene. It felt very, at least the environment that I was in, it felt like this is where I would go. This is a future. I feel like I can see the trajectory upwards. This can be a thing that I do. And then I really biffed I got hired for an off-Broadway show, and I was hired on upright, and I don't really play upright well, and I really screwed things up, and essentially I was fired from that. And I was also, I canceled like 2 weeks of a tour for Mamma Mia, the national tour of Mamma Mia, to play this off-Broadway show. So all these opportunities just kind of like fell flat immediately, which was really demoralizing, because I was like, all right, well, this clearly is not what I was meant to do. It's fun, but also I'm playing a lot of upright, and I'm an electric bass player, so no, not this. And then kind of at the same time, this wedding gig, let me try that again. Kind of at the same time, this wedding gig fell on my lap with this wedding band, and I started playing a lot of these wedding gigs, and I was like, oh, wow, this is so much more fun than playing upright kind of shittily. in cabarets, I can actually play my instrument and chop out, and this group of people is really fun. So then I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to be doing this like wedding corporate gig thing now full time. And I really put a lot of energy into that. And the amount of energy that I was putting into each one of these things was mainly because I just saw a career in it. I saw like, all right, here's the trajectory. I can do it. And then it was only after like 3 years maybe of doing the wedding thing that I started kind of getting burnt out. And I was doing it, you know, two weddings a weekend from like March until November, like, you know, a huge number of weddings, huge numbers of these gigs. And yeah, my bass playing improved, but it was pretty demoralizing and exhausting, honestly, to do that much when I felt like, you know, it was just, I wasn't getting much out of it. At a certain point, I was like, well, what happens next? More weddings. Okay, but like, what happens next? More weddings. But like, what happens next? And, you know, I guess kind of the point of this is that I'm always looking to the next thing. I always want to see like, all right, you know, if I'm grinding now, I know that I can continue to grow and continue to do cooler and bigger and better things. And with the musical theater, that fell flat. And with weddings, that fell flat. And then it just so happened that YouTube kind of entered into my life around, you know, the end of the wedding stuff. So I kind of have been going on at that. But it was always like, what's the next step? Like I can always try and find the next step. And that's kind of been the main motivator, I guess. Also, I want to eat, you know, everybody wants to eat.
Well, no one's shying. You're not like turning down money. I didn't mean that. I just didn't mean it was like you didn't get into mixing necessarily because you were like, and then I will become a great mixer and take on all these other people's albums. And you're like, no. Even what you mentioned, it seems like you just were like, oh, I'm getting paid to do this. Oh, people do get paid to do this. Oh, great. I can just keep getting paid to do like. Yeah.
I mean, that's basically, I feel like that's a pretty standard musician thing. Like, oh, yeah, let's do that. That's the musician mindset right there. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Is the money steady? Oh, I'll just keep showing up then.
Yeah. Like that's been it. And then, you know, being a good hang and saying yes and answering emails more or less. And that was what it was for the first 8 years I was in New York. And then YouTube. And then that's its own weird thing.
At the beginning of the present, I guess there's the before, which we all know what that is.
The before times,
and I guess this is the present. But we all knew a bunch of people who, like myself, were like, oh, well, I guess YouTube is the last. Like place where I can communicate, even mildly perform in any way. Mm-hmm. How have you been with recommending people with what to do now? Yeah.
So you've started this YouTube channel, which is awesome. And you know, it's grown too, which is awesome. You know, as somebody who is outside of it, who is not making the YouTube videos, like it's really cool to see it grow because of course it would grow because of course you're putting a lot of work into it. And, you know, Rotem is also going hard on the YouTube channel stuff and it's growing too. And of course it's going to grow. Of course the challenge is like, well, how long until there's some kind of material benefit? And who knows, honestly. But the difference is when you have a platform, essentially what you're doing is you're creating a media company and a media platform, distribution platform for yourself in a way that you know, on Instagram, you don't really have that. You get followers and somebody might watch it for like 2 seconds and then scroll on. But on YouTube, people watch for a long time. You're creating a means of engaging people for a long time. And that's at a premium because online, you know, music is not scarce. You can just stream whatever music for whatever, but attention is scarce. How long somebody puts their attention towards what it is you're doing. And as a musician and as a like creator of original music, it's very difficult to get anybody to engage with your music for any length of time. Like I don't sit down and watch music videos, like produced music videos, like maybe somebody playing or performing. Sure. but it's not something that I really regularly engage with, and not too many people do. But I will sit down, or at least have something in the background of somebody talking about music all the time. And for musicians, it's important to know how to engage people for a long period of time, because their music is worthless, essentially, because it's anywhere and everywhere. But somebody's opinion isn't worthless because there's only one place that you can get it, and that's on like a YouTube channel or a podcast or something like that, or a blog too. And I recommend musicians having some kind of platform with which they can voice their opinion, because that opinion can only be found in one place, and it's a valuable thing. I definitely got insanely lucky with how the algorithm started promoting my stuff. I've definitely studied how YouTube works in terms of how people watch it and engage with it. But I was definitely in the right place at the right time. I won't deny that. And it's very difficult for new people getting into the game, unless you have kind of the perspective that it's, going to be a while before any kind of tangible result will come back. The thing I always say is like, it's a musical instrument. You wouldn't expect any great success practicing guitar and, for 6 months and then being like, hey, I can make a living playing guitar. I practiced for 6 months, maybe 5 years. I don't know. But it's that level of work and dedication. And that's really hard. That's a really hard sell on musicians who already feel like they've put in the work. But right. they haven't put it into this other medium, which I think is very useful for musicians. So I don't know. It's hard. It's difficult.
So everyone should start one.
Everybody should start one, but don't expect anything for 5 years. And if you can reliably expect to work without pay for 5 years, congratulations, you're a musician. And that's what we did anyway at the beginning of New York from 2010 to 2015. It's now you're just doing it on YouTube rather than in the New York scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are other things that you've been recommending people to do who might have been just going like, hey, Adam, how do I make sense of anything?
Get good at Instagram. That's an easy thing to get good at, because it's not nearly as mysterious as YouTube and how people work on YouTube. Get good at creating content that you yourself would watch. That's a big thing. I don't really watch bass videos on Instagram that much, but if somebody comes up with a cool meme, I'll watch the hell out of that and understand how the meme logic works, the meme math works. Jacob Collier is great at this, honestly. In addition to being an amazing, I hate the fact that I've mentioned him twice now on this podcast. Damn it. But in addition to being an amazing musician, he knows how to create internet content very, very well. Like the most recent one is he did this MIDI art painting thing where he just plays piano, but then the MIDI that he plays looks like the word vote as he's playing it. And it sounds good too. And it's brilliant. So like things like that. And if you're Gen Z and if you're younger than you and I, you probably know this logic very, very well anyway, but get good at this meme logic, because that is a super powerful way of engaging with people. And people might think, oh, it's a gimmick, but yeah, like, so geez, do you realize what you had to do for marketing before the internet, before social media, and how much money you had to spend and how many thousands and thousands of dollars for no result you would have to spend before social media? And you're getting upset that you're having to use social media as a free marketing tool. Get over yourself. Wolfpack is great at this. They make really nice, catchy music, but they're fantastic with internet content. Jacob Mann is just 1-minute jazz lessons on YouTube. Knows how to do the meme, but also makes fantastic, really interesting, beautiful music. Yeah. Know how to meme, guys. Come on. Come on.
So you mentioned music being relatively worthless because it's out everywhere.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you bought an album not on Bandcamp? Because Bandcamp essentially is a donation service.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a donation service disguised as a music distributor. But, you know, you can listen to things that you wouldn't normally be able to listen to on streaming. But that's essentially what Bandcamp's function is. And it does a very, very good job of creating that community. Like, if you want to really support the artists, buy on Bandcamp. And yeah, you buy on Bandcamp. But want to buy on iTunes? Like, come on. Why would you ever do that? And essentially, music is free. Wherever you go, music is free. So why would you ever buy or invest in it? And everything is free all the time because, you know, YouTube and Spotify and Facebook monetize your attention. And so you might as well try and figure out ways of grabbing people's attention. So that's why I was like talking about the importance of YouTube. It's about attention. Attention is the thing that is at a deficit. Everything else is free. Like, you can just, yeah, there's no shortage of music, but there is shortage of, like, Elliott Klein's opinion. So give the people what they want.